Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into Anfield Road TV. Just a little short episode this evening, but if you are watching on the repeat, do always get involved in the comment section below with all your fellow subscribers, or if you're new around here, want you to be up to date on all things Liverpool, transfer news or whatnot, hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching on all the social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook or whatnot. Drop us a follow, shows you love and that. But joined by just me and Nigel this evening, mate, and yeah, we'll be going through, of course, a little bit about the Jude Bellingham saga that is thankfully come to a very good, well, a disappointing conclusion for Liverpool. But I picked up a couple of his comments that probably were a little throwing a lot of shade at Liverpool. But thankfully that deal is well and truly done and dead really now, which is good for Liverpool. We can move on to other targets. A little bit about Leighton Clarkson as well. We'll have a little look at that. Obviously, he's just solidified his move up to Scotland as well. And of course, a little bit on Caicedo in relation to any potential moves to any other clubs, mate. But and of course, the Premier League, obviously, fixtures did get released anyway, mate. But Nigel, we'll start. Obviously, how's your day being, mate? And massive thank you for jumping on.
No problem. I was in work today, so it's very, very warm. And luckily enough, we have air conditioning in work, and it makes a bit of a difference. Just before we start, I'd just like to say that rest in peace, Gordon McQueen. Always seemed like him came across as a gentleman. Like, it's very sad. 70 years old, no age.
Yeah, thoughts go to the family as well, mate. Very sad. But yeah, it was big up chat as well. If you big up Mark, hope you're well, mate. Massive thank you for tuning in. Big up Shay. Make sure you're smashing that like button and the subscribe. Big up there, Red. Massive thank you for the support as well. Appreciate you popping in to say hello to Henry as well, mate. Really do appreciate all of you. And firstly, we'll go straight into obviously the fixtures, Nigel. There was a lot going around, as we know, in our group chat in terms of rumours. In terms, there was a supposed great Photoshop over the last 48 hours saying that Liverpool, they've leaked it. Liverpool were supposedly meant to be playing Luton, but it wasn't the case. Chelsea, Nigel, Chelsea chat. For me, I'm looking at this in terms of a positive way, mate, because we went into last season, didn't we, Nigel, and chat, going into it, going, 3 points. But we're looking at this now in terms of the fixtures. I'll quickly rattle off, obviously, the first couple for Liverpool in relation to this new season. So Liverpool are away on the opening day against Chelsea. Then we've got Bournemouth at home, then away at Newcastle, then at home against Aston Villa. Liverpool then travelling away to Molineux against Wolves, and then at home against West Ham, and then away at Tottenham, and then again away against Brighton. But I tell you what, Nigel, it's a baptism of fire, isn't it, mate, for Liverpool again?
Yeah, it ain't easy, I'll tell you that. But like somebody said it earlier on, I tend to agree with you what you said. Possibly getting Chelsea at the right time, or before everything beds in. If they're going to be the same again, and go nuts in the transfer market again, and players not settling and stuff like that, we might be getting them at the right time. But we've got to be better. We were really poor on the opening day last year. We drew 2-2 with Fulham, and like we were lucky to get away with it.
Yeah, what would you put that down to, mate, and chat as well? What would you put that down to Liverpool's lacklustre start to the campaign? Was it as alluded to? Do you reckon they done what us fans? It's what us fans do when that, looking at the fixtures going, we can get 6-12 points out of those first couple of games, mate. But would you think it was a lack of underprepared, really, and just lack of real guile, really, and planning, really?
I'm not sure. I think we looked kind of shaky enough at the back. We conceded a couple of really sloppy goals, and looked. We didn't look right. We definitely didn't look right. I think there was a lot of fatigue still there. I mean, this Nations League is an absolute joke as well. How are our players playing at the end of a season, and they have to go out there and play these meaningless games? It's just I think the fatigue from the previous season that kind of didn't help us all season, and then the World Cup, and then it was even worse after that.
Do you think it was too many? too many friendlies as well, chat. I think it was too. You look at Manchester City every single season, mate. If Pep decides to go a little less heavy in terms of due to the severe fixtures Liverpool and City have played over the last couple of years, mate. But Pep's very clever in that. But you look at Ibu Konate as well. Last season, beginning of the season, I went to that game and it was 2 back-to-back games in the space of 24 hours. And then you had, I know Ibu didn't travel and all that, but it was a case in point of Ibu getting injured in that game and he was out for 3 to 4 months. And it just not really, just knackers your preparation, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, these players need to be managed better. It's as simple as that. Look, it's not just our club, it's all these clubs. Like, they're asking for serious injuries. When we had those serious injuries, the year we qualified for Europe when we didn't have any centre-backs, that was an absolute pure miracle that we managed to get through those. And then we get the next season and it's more stuff. And then this season, I think we paid for the previous 2 or 3 seasons of constant football. 63 games we played last season. Just this level of consistency, or not even consistency, this level of amount of games does not suit us.
Yeah, there we go. The late arrivals. Come on, boys. What are we doing? How are we, boys? And
yeah, good, mate. Good, mate. How are you?
Boys, you're fine. The James Milner fine is coming in there now on YouTube.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's right. I'm seeing Kevin like 24 hours, so it'll be all good.
I wasn't even meant to be here. I just had a half an hour to spare, and I goes, "Oh yeah, I'll pop onto Jack."
Thanks for that. Lads, we'll get back to obviously what Nigel was alluding to there. Spot on, mate. Obviously, we'll get to chat as well. Make sure you are smashing that like button and the subscribe button as well, everyone. Obviously, the lads channel. All their socials will be in the description, so you can check them out on the repeat as well. Show your support. Big up there, Shay. Newcastle looked the trickiest of those first few games, really. Big up there, Scouts. I'm not worried. We beat Chelsea. They're not going to sort their mess out that quickly. Obviously, alluding to what Nigel said, will be the best time to play them, really. And I agree there, Scouts, as long as you just don't draw. Because it was when you look at that Lampard streak that he had, it was like he had like 2 draws in the space of like 15, 20 games. And typical that Liverpool would draw against them. Big up there, Panov. Hope you're well, mate. Winning the Charity Shield derailed us for some reason. Yeah, too much of a psychological boost. Probably that, Scouts, mate.
I think that's more than we were coming off last season, Jack. The previous season, we were still on like maybe that fitness level, but City had only played 1 pre-season game a day and a half before that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
they weren't even on their legs. We beat them because we were quicker than them and fitter than them at that time, but we were still broken.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. Scouts, we're worried about the likes of Fulham, looking what happened in those games. 100%. Unless we have good transfer window, we should worry. Big up there, Birds. And as I said, everyone, a lot of rumours go around today. I was saying that to Nigel before we come on here. There's, I think, in relation to the Foran business, I think until something official from a club source or a very well-respected journalist. Obviously, Paul Joyce did come out with the list. Obviously, last week anyway, so it's a lot of the same stuff getting rehashed. Potentially, if something does big come out, we will obviously mention it on the socials as well. But Doug, in relation to the start to the Premier League campaign, mate, do you think it'd be a hindrance to Liverpool? This big, well, you only have mentioned at the top of the show the away fixtures for Liverpool, mate. But at the end of the day, you've got to play the fixtures. You've got to play everyone twice. It doesn't really matter. But do you think it'll have a better... I think I'm looking at this. I think it will have a better impact on Liverpool's start to the season, considering the opposition and the quality that we will be coming up against.
Yeah, I think if you look at the fixtures that we've obviously got, obviously, Chelsea away, never an easy place to go to. I know the last couple of games obviously been 0-0. Bournemouth at home, I mean... that could still get changed. That could potentially be away. So, we could potentially have 3 away games on the spin. I do have to say, though, I think that getting Newcastle away first is very, very... getting Newcastle away out of those 5 is very, very good. Obviously, getting Villa at home as well. Wolves away. There's some games there that we have to right or wrong from last season. We were really, really bad against Wolves. Really, really bad. And then obviously West Ham Actually, that might be the game that my baby's here, which would be a bit surreal. But what I will say is that, again, I'm looking at the fixtures again, and we have Everton. I think we've got Everton at home
25th of
first.
October. Yeah.
Aye. And then it's Goodison. And for some strange reason, we've got Manchester United at home first, and then away. That doesn't happen very often. And then I think it's City away first, and then we've got them at home second. So, swings and roundabouts. But the one thing you can take away from a fixture list is that Liverpool Wolves, no matter how many times you put it, will always be last.
Yeah, it's a bit of. We had a little look on Henry's show. Big up Henry. Mark, if you can please drop Henry's channel link in the description, please, mate, in the comments. You look at the final day of the season, Liverpool, as Doug's alluded to, home against Wolves, and then you got Manchester City against West Ham, won't be an easy game. Brighton at home against Manchester United. The Ev against Arsenal. No Bournemouth this season coming round. So, Kev, it's what are your expectations looking at that Premier League campaign? Of course, we've got to play them, mate, but are you in the camp of me in terms of optimism? I think it, obviously, regardless of what happens, it's massively hindrance, really, in terms of Liverpool's performances on the transfer window, mate. But putting that aside for a little bit, but I'm excited that we're playing big teams. I was hoping that we did play a big team the first game. Just get straight in there, really. Yeah,
we've been playing. Anytime we played Chelsea early in the league in the last few seasons, we've beaten them. And especially if it's an away game, I'd take that. Get the Stamford Bridge out of the way fast while they're at their weakest, and they're only trying to develop their play. So they're going to just test their playing style against people. Though they'll do pre-season, obviously that's what it's all about. But they have to realise that Liverpool's a well-oiled machine. No matter how tired we were last season or whatever, we still have, once we're fit and ready, we still have the mindset to press and move. So I'm glad that it's kind of Chelsea or something like that at the start. I would have been more worried if it was, we've always had kind of fumbling blocks against Norwich for like the first half an hour, nothing could go right or something, and then all of a sudden we bang a load of goals in. And Fulham last season, it's just that way. But I think when it's a team like, Man City was at the start of season just gone, the Charity Shield, and we had to get up for it. So we did, and we demolished them 3-1. No one's saying that they were weaker, but I do believe that Chelsea will still be as weak. Plus, it's Pochettino, and Klopp knows how to play against Poch.
Such a big opportunity that, mate, in terms of lads as well. Chip in with whenever he's one boys. You look at, obviously, Newcastle, the third fixture, especially if you can if we can look into that fixture or getting at least 9 points from that phase 3 or phase 4 fixtures. You look at Villa as well. They're building, Brighton are building as well. But if you can just start to create it, because you look at Manchester City, was it Arsenal last season? Like, they lost the first 2 or 3 games in the Premier League, and just look how pivotal that was, in all honesty. And we know from experience, Liverpool going ahead to head with Chelsea, with Man City, there's no room for really
error.
It's a bit of baptism of fire for Tottenham, because have you seen their running? Oh my days! Newcastle, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, in a run of 4 games in a row. That's difficult.
Do you know what? I've been so busy looking at the home fixtures for me because of the ticket that I've not even looked at all the fixtures back to back. Yeah, that's absolutely madness, mate. And chat, let us know your thoughts. What are you anticipating very much, not just for Liverpool, but in terms of the Premier League? It's obviously closer to the time. We'll be doing plenty of shows. I know everyone will be on their socials as well. It's just Liverpool. We've got to focus. As I said, top of the show with Nigel. It's easy for us fans to look ahead, but the players can't be doing that. That's what I think they look too much going to this year. They probably looked at the fixtures, as the lads already alluded to, off the back of that City game and went, we're going to cast everyone aside with quite a lot of ease. And then, we hit the brakes when we come up against Fulham, got ran all over the gaff. But yeah, it's as I said, Pochettino, probably perfect time, really. But anything else to add on that? Anybody seen on Christmas?
One of the lads just said it on the chat there. Like, we're going to have an awful lot of games on Sunday because we're in the Europa.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a lot of games on Sunday.
Has anybody seen Christmas?
Burnley at Boxing Day, I believe. Got Manchester United. Got Manchester United.
It's United, Arsenal,
on the 16th of
Arsenal,
December.
Burnley, and Newcastle over Christmas.
Yeah. We have seven games in December, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
That used to be. I remember we won 8 in a row in December, and the year that we won the league, and even after that, it was the first time or something that any team won like eight.
The one thing
December
that would really interest me, Kev, and obviously Nigel, Jack, and anyone in the chat, the one thing that would really interest me is who we're playing when we've had a Europa League game.
Okay, so that's around. They start at when does Europa League actually?
Because that would be the Europa League, I believe, starts the middle of September.
It would be.
The thing that we've already discussed, and obviously a lot of Arsenal and Newcastle fans, they're not used to it. Obviously, under the times with Wenger, Arsenal were very used to it. But that's done obviously Liverpool and City and obviously Chelsea in certain seasons, Tottenham as well. We're used to that nature. And especially when the likes of Newcastle and Arsenal start picking up injuries, Nigel, would you say that's when Liverpool very much need to keep our own blinkers on, really, and just focus on our results? But that's when stumbling blocks do occur, really, for other teams. But it presents opportunity, and very much Liverpool need to take it, really.
That's what we need to do all the time. We need to block out other teams. We need to stop worrying about what these other teams are going to do. It's one game at a time. Win the first one, then move on, win the second one. It's as simple as that. One game at a time. It's exactly what we did when we won the league. You know, they were all saying, you have to play so many games. You're going out to Qatar to play this game. The FA or the Premier League, whoever it was, made us play a League Cup game against Aston Villa the night after we played Monterrey in the semi-final of the World Club Championship. And we put out kids and got hammered. And they didn't, they let, was it City? No, it wasn't. It was Chelsea.
Yeah.
They let Chelsea away with one of those. And then we went out Boxing Day and absolutely obliterated Leicester after we won the World Cup. We went out and absolutely gave one of the best performances of the season. We tore Leicester to pieces. And, we won a lot of games. And we had a rearranged game. We played West Ham, I think, twice in a week around end of March, I think, in the space of about 5 days. And it's the one where we scored first, went 2-1 down, and scored those 2 late goals. Fabianski fumbled the ball, and then Mane scored that late winner, 3-2. Like I said, we got on a roll. It's one game at a time. That's exactly how we have to look at it.
Yeah, 100%.
Focus on number one, obviously, Liverpool.
100%, mate. We'll rattle through all these comments as well. Big appreciation to every single one of you. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video as well. Massively helps out the algorithm, not just on my channel, but everyone's. Just really helps the content creators in terms of getting it out there as well on YouTube. Big up, I think Wiggs is in chat. Big up, matey. Get to that as well. Big up there, Panov. How are we doing? Just having a little gander with each other, aren't you? Big up there, Wiggs. How are we, mate? How are we? Just big up there. Yeah, that's what I'm just talking about. Yeah. Even there, how are we? Big up there as well, Rob. Carabag away. I tell you, they were in the Champions League. Was it the year before last? I tell you what, there's some
they were.
Some very strange, good European sides. I've got not a lot of pedigree, but you'll be quite surprised. Obviously, we're top seeds by a bloody country mile. If you look at the European points that Liverpool have amassed in our 131-year history, we're used to that competition, as we know. We'll just quickly rattle through all these. We need to back our players and manager this season. That's the Liverpool way. Enough of all this negative BS. You think we've been fighting relegation over the last 6 years. 100% there, Panov. And you know me, mate. And for people that have watched me for the last 4 or 5 years anyway, I'll call out the owners and I'll be disappointed as well. And everyone's entitled, if everyone was saying the same thing on socials, it'd be a very boring world or in life anyway. But I'm very disgruntled at the owners, mate. And you know my stance, Panov. Everyone knows me if you watch me. This is, I think 99.9% of Liverpool fans are all on the same hymn sheet. The owners have got no out this summer. If you don't back Liverpool and you don't back Jurgen Klopp, as Ibu said this week, I'll probably do a show on that really this week, but more or less remonstrating with his own out. We've seen Ibu, we've seen Van Dijk, we've seen Alisson, we've seen Salah over the space of the last 6 months very much hit out at the owners and the lack of spend and the lack of quality. He went through Milner, went through Firmino, went through Ox and Naby, saying if those players have left this season in this window, and if we don't replace them, these Ibu's words, then we'll be in very big trouble. So interesting times ahead. But yeah, of course. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, of course.
But anyone got any last bits to add on in relation to the fixtures, lads, or are we all happy and content with that? Bring them on. That's all we say. Bring on your internationally.
I think the one thing we can take away from the fixtures, though, Jack, is that we need to start fast and get some results on the board. Because last season we struggled really badly. We didn't get a win until like the 4th game, and then obviously that was a 9-0 against Bournemouth. So we've got some games in there, especially if the rumours are that the Anfield Road stand is not going to be ready until September. Then obviously you look at the fixtures: Chelsea away, Bournemouth away, Newcastle away. That's 3 away games. We beat Newcastle, but we drew with Chelsea. We're very lucky to draw with Chelsea, and Bournemouth away we were very, very poor. So some good games in that run to sort of right a wrong, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, the stand to get built as well, Chas, unless they keep on sacking all the contractors there. If you haven't seen the video,
oh, that's ridiculous.
I get you're under legalization. I'm not a legal lawyer, but it's not like he exposed the biggest secrets in the stadium, really. But it was a matter of just saying Liverpool turning rounds, as we know. If he didn't see or didn't keep up to date, he just sacked the contractor. Just for, obviously, he probably shouldn't have been recording, but it wasn't like he exposed like a big secret in the new Anfield Road stand. But I think what he didn't like, the football club, which is understandable, was that he very much exposed some of the lack of health and safety, to very much say the safe. And obviously, I think Liverpool turned around and said, we'll cancel the construction contract and get you all off site if you're there. But hopefully that fella does get sorted and get sorted anyway, because it's ridiculous. Could have been very much handled a lot better by the football club, which is disappointing. But hence to all the other stuff that they've mismanaged Liverpool over the last 12 months anyway, including the transfer market. As well, but we'll go through all this for me, Henry, because FSG can't wait. I want to compete with City, Newcastle, and Mega Bucks there, Redbird. But we will be back again, chat, if we can get 3-4 midfielders, but we don't want to really dwell too much on that. But one player that is leaving, Doug, obviously you're probably best placed for this, won't delve too much into it, but a young 21-year-old Leighton Clarkson. I think he got seven goals, 3 assists in the Scottish League this season. I didn't see a full transfer fee, Doug. I think it's been undisclosed currently. But do you think this would be a good big move for the young lad?
I'm absolutely delighted for him, Jack, because he was excellent in the Aberdeen midfield last season. The fact that Aberdeen actually had a bit of a topsy-turvy season, there's got to be said. They were sort of sitting 7th for a wee bit, but his goals sort of now catapulted them up the league. I think it's a fantastic signing, and I'm so happy he didn't choose Rangers, because I know there was a few sort of murmurs of potentially Rangers going for him, but I think his heart. But if he wanted to leave Liverpool, I think his heart was set on a move to Aberdeen. I think it's a fantastic move for him, and long may he continue being sort of that pivotal midfielder. And he's got a free kick in him as well. He scored an absolute perler against Livingston, my Scottish club, earlier this season as well. He's a fantastic wee player, and I think if Aberdeen play him in the right way, I think he's going to be one to watch next season.
Hopefully it's not one to bite us on the backside, Kev, is he? He's 21 years old, as Doug's already explained his exploits. He was very highly regarded at the football club, hence why they were sending him out on loan. He did see a vision or a pathway. But you never know, mate. We've all of us have spoke off camera about, in terms of player development, even chat as well over the last couple of months. is you want to be seeing players going out, and as Doug's alluded to, he's going to a team like Aberdeen that are very much competing for like a European spot. If they can have a good season, would you say, Doug? They're not that far off in terms of really not challenging Celtic or Rangers, but in terms of in and around that top four, aren't they, mate?
Yeah, well, they were up there for a few seasons, weren't they? A couple of years back, and
absolutely.
And for me, like if they've only just had a bit of a dip and they're bringing in quality like Leighton Clarkson in youth, and you know he's proven himself last season there, hence why they've come back and gone to buy him. So look, long may it continue. Maybe Liverpool have a buy back in it with some experience. You know, I don't know what way the deal is working. I would assume so. I mean, because Klopp rated Leighton himself, didn't he, a bit to play him a few times last season, and I can only see that Liverpool wouldn't be as stupid, or at least put in some sort of clause that if he let him go for a certain amount, that they'd probably make 25% of whatever profits were being sold on for the next 4 sales at least. Because you can see that he's probably going to Aberdeen. He could end up moving upwards to Celtic. He could end up, moving, into the Championship somewhere, and that'll be a couple of the deals. But then always like the pivotal deal is the third or fourth deal when they're moving up a higher level in clubs. You know.
That one there as well, as Connor said, Kev, obviously, in relation to what you're saying, potentially.
100% I think Liverpool don't leave kids go, especially if they rate them and play them as much as they did last season. I don't need to leave them go for cheap. I mean, Ryan Brewster had a buyback clause and inserted in him. They had a sell-on clause if they sold them before, was it 3 or 4 seasons or something like that.
Yeah.
So, so it'll be the same with Leighton, but I think because it'll be such an enticing deal for Aberdeen, and they wouldn't have to spend too much money. I think just creating the contract alone is what makes Liverpool money down the line. And that's what they're looking at. So that contract alone is worth 25% of a big sale for him in future. So even if he goes for 30 million somewhere, that's money in the bank for Liverpool, 6 million.
I think the thing with Clarkson, Kev, is that the fact that he signed for 4 years, he really, trusts the Aberdeen project. And I think if you look at it, I think he will go for big money in a couple of years. He will definitely go for big money. If he can, add more goals to his game. Honestly, I think I read somewhere that he was like one of like the sort of the highly ranked sort of players that was actually out on loan last season. Obviously, you got Tyler Morton. You've obviously, you got a couple of more players in there. But Leighton Clarkson was a player. A lot of people were actually noticing on like Aberdeen games, and they were actually noticing that he was the main sort of difference in that team. So I am very, very happy for him that he's gone to a very, very good club in Aberdeen. And yes, Aberdeen are potentially in European football as well. Yeah. So it's a very good move for him, and I wish him well. I wish him well. I agree with what Connor says. I do think there will be a buyback clause. Not sure how much it will be for, though. But having a buyback clause to then potentially go back and get him is something I think the club has done well there.
I think that's what should be the aim of any club like Liverpool Football Club when it comes to having an academy and investing in an academy of that size. Not nowhere like they've all of those players. 1% of those players make it into the Liverpool side, into the main Liverpool side. The rest are there to make money for Liverpool down the line, or release what they can make money off of. That's just what it is. Gain experience, go somewhere else, get bought between companies, hands shaking here and everywhere, percentages added on to little contracts and first-time contracts in there. So that the main aim of any academy, especially for an academy like Liverpool, is to make money off as many players as possible going to and from other clubs, and percentages add-ons. So look, Aberdeen are great. So they've always, they were. You go back to even watching.
Fergie. Look at what Fergie done with Aberdeen.
I watched that. Yeah. I watched that documentary about Fergie. I did watch it, and it showed like what kind of it showed what he ded with Aberdeen there at that time as well. And it showed what kind of club Aberdeen was as well. And the type of fans they are. And
Scotland was the hub, though, mate, wasn't it, with Shankly and the football heritage within English football has got a lot to very much thank as Scottish football. Like. The roots of football in England and the UK, really, and it's scary how entwined it very much is, mate.
When you look at it, the 1% that is there, Raheem Sterling was one of them that came through. Michael Owen was one of them that came through. Robbie Fowler was one of them came through. McManaman was one of them that came through. You get the 1%, Steven Gerrard, obviously the most obvious one that came through. You get all of these guys coming through, Curtis Jones lately and Trent Alexander-Arnold. 1 or 2 per generation come through, and that's it. The rest all get sold on, and that's,
Yeah, go ahead, Nigel. What's on there?
I'm just going to say about Trent there. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the release list. But the club, the players the club released.
Do you want to go through that, mate? I've completely
there's two lads. There's 2 lads that are already signing for Bolton. Liam Hughes and Charlie Hayes-Green have already signed for Bolton. Yeah. Oscar Kelly doesn't say he's gone anywhere. Fidel O'Rourke, I know, was playing non-league and doing really well there at the end of last season. So he's been released. Ewan Roberts has been released, and Jack Byrne, who actually made a first-team appearance. They've all been released.
Paul Glatzel signed they've offered him a contract, haven't they?
Who have?
The German lad, Paul Glatzel.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, he's after having a couple of really bad injuries, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the retained list there as well if you need it after the leaving list is done.
Yeah. No, yeah, you can call that out there, Kev, if you want.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, the contracts offers have been made to, as Jack said, Glatzel, Poitras and Reece Truman. At the academy, Jack Byrne made a
and probably Adrian as well.
Adrian's been retained. Jack Byrne, Liam Hughes, and then it says they've gone, who are twice part of the Match Squad Academy. They've gone Charlie Hayes, Oscar, also back in new chapters and careers this summer. So all of them are gone. Jack Byrne, Liam Hughes, Charlie Hayes, Green, Oscar. But the contract offers are being kept with Paul Glatzel, Poitras. Well, they've been offered, and Truman.
And you watch quite a lot of the young lads, don't you, Nigel? I know you do in terms
I try to, yeah.
The academy.
I know Paul Glatzel had a really, really bad injury. Couple of really bad injuries. He done both ligaments in his knee twice, I think.
Milanowski as well. He got an injury. Yeah. Was it last year? He's one of the hottest prospects.
I try to watch as much of the kids as I can because, you might see something coming through. We've some really good players in that team. The young lad,
I thought Musilowski would break through a couple of seasons ago. To be honest with you,
is it Mabea as well? Mabea down the right hand side.
Yeah. Right. We've got the 3 or 4 lads now at the moment whose dads all played. Kumas, jump in there, lads. Jason Kumas' son. The other 3 lads. Oh,
Chat know anyway. You'll know anyway.
The lad up front. The other lad up front. Neil Danson. He looks really good. There's 2 more as well. We've got famous.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nigel, it saves so much money long term, though, mate, innit? Yeah. And as we've said already as well, chat, in terms of when you look at Man City, in terms of obviously they've over the last 10 years, that's one avenue in terms of generating funds. They've done really well. They've bought all the best talent as a young academy, and their facilities and the youth level are exceptional. Hence with the ladies team as well, they've really added on to that. But that's the thing, Nigel, and in terms of if Liverpool aren't going to be spending the big bucks, it's not ideal, but the whole part of having an academy is very much to facilitate the first team as well. And who's to say, imagine if we had, hopefully in the next 5 years, another Ballon d'Or Michael Owen. It's very, that 1% chance, but there's always that opportunity, and especially under Jurgen Klopp as well, mate. If you give a young lad the opportunity, like we did with Trent, Curtis Jones, if he continues playing as well as he did the back end of last season, could save you £50-100 million down the line.
Yeah, well, look at it. Ben Doak played a little bit for the first team this season. Harvey Blair, the other young lad that got badly injured there, he scored against Shrewsbury last year. What's his name?
The winger. Kay Gordon.
Kay Gordon.
Yeah.
Got really badly injured. There's a few guys there who could. These guys will play. I can see in the League Cup anyway. I can see a lot of these guys coming through and playing in League Cup, and maybe even in some of the
pre-season.
If we can do well enough in the Europa League and win a few games, and near the end of the competition, then if we've wrapped up the league, hopefully wrapped up the group, we can play some of these young lads, give them European experience, put a few quid on their price tag if they have to go. You know what I mean? And then put a buyback clause in. That's the way to work it. We've done well with buyback clauses there recently, or not so much buyback clauses as sell-on clauses.
Yeah, I think one of the best ones would have been if we got And it was Luis Alberto was rumoured a couple of years ago to be getting a big move away from Lazio. And I think we had like a 30-40% sell-on fee. But yeah, we'll go to obviously big up there, Richards. Why isn't Liverpool not buying any generational talents like the mold of Gavi, Pedri, Camavinga? The thing is, money there, Richards, and just goes to show what we've just said there, mate. We'd love them. But you look at the likes of, especially the Spanish lads in La Liga, Barcelona are absolutely skint, as we know, and they have got massive 1 billion buyout contracts. And I think with Pedri and Gavi, obviously their contracts have very much been done. Camavinga, Skelly as well, Bellingham, Saka, they're all tied down to big money.
Barcelona B as well, Jack. They get sponsored separately to Barcelona as well, so that can fund paying for youth contracts that are above the average of what normal youth contracts can give. So even though they don't make too much money playing for Barcelona, they're in Barcelona B and they're still well looked after. They're given accommodation, they're given all of that, and even talking about the youths as well, like, because even another Clark that's there who even got a good few more games last season is Bobby Clark, and he's had a lot of touches for the academy this season, and he's done well for them as well. So he's a good player, and he played a lot of games last season, like 24, 25 games.
Connor Bradley as well, though, boys. As much as we want to do business out the transfer window, of course, bringing quality in, but I think he might be the potential next big name to come through in terms of, not to say that he's going to be playing a 50-game calendar season, but if he did come in and play 15, 20 games in very much like a 4th, 5th choice substitution role, and Liverpool are in good form, and you can if you're 3-0 up, it's so much easier to do. Would you say, Doug, in terms of when you're on a good run of form, to very much do that? You look at like the Manchester City, you bring on Cole Palmer, you bring on Foden when he was younger, obviously integrate them in certain elements of games. It's much easier to do that when you're in a good run of form or good confidence as a whole football club, because people won't moan then if you're going to be lobbing on Curtis Jones if you're top of the league, 20 points clear and all that mess.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when you look at the Europa League, it's a chance for the likes of Doak to get games. It's a chance for Kelleher to play. I don't imagine we'll see Alisson in the Champions in the Europa. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Europa League, as much as I think we will. But I think it'll be good to get those players, playing. And I think as well, when you look at what City have off the bench, as well, it's all about squad depth. If you all go on a very good, European run, it's all about squad depth.
Yeah, 100%. And this is not always making excuses for the owners' shop, by the way. We need to spend that money.
Just a little aside there. I saw Oakley Cannonier being mentioned a couple of times there in the chat. He also has 2 other brothers in the academy as well. And they're supposed to be very good. Just go back to that list, the generational talent list that was up there a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
The thing is, the generational talent list, if we look at that, the reason Dortmund didn't have to sell Bellingham last year, which they sold Haaland. And they didn't have to sell Musiala this year is because they sold Bellingham. So it's kind of one player a year kind of rolls them over for the next year, and they can keep these so-called generational talents. And he is a good player, Musiala. But that means they don't have to sell him.
Yeah, he's at Bayern Munich now, isn't he?
Is it Munich now he's with? Right. I was thinking that the young lad at Dortmund as well. There's a very good young lad there as well.
Yeah, there's a loads of them, mate. And that's the hotbed. It's like basically the Man City and Man United Bundesliga, as we know. But big up there, mate. Big up chat. We could do I might even start a new thing this season. We might even watch under 21s football, because I know I certainly need to start watching a lot more.
Yeah, I've always watched it for years. I didn't watch it too much in the last year. Well, since the pandemic really hit, I haven't watched it too as often as I used to.
Yeah,
but it's so good.
Yeah, but we'll move on. We've mentioned that one. We'll save the Jude bit till last, because we'll be on there until bloody the cows come home. We'll mention, obviously, in terms of Caicedo, we'll quickly rattle through this anyway in relation to, not in concrete, but Chelsea know well that Caicedo has a pact with De Zerbi since February in this case important proposal, in case an important proposal arrives. he will leave the club. Blues are really pushing for Caicedo as an important target, more to follow as well. And then Ben Jacobs today, and apologies if he's done another tweet prior to us coming live on air this evening. Might have changed, as we know a lot of transfers do. Chelsea are advancing the proposals for Moses Caicedo coming up this week. Brighton will let Caicedo leave, which is the big point in that. It's clear that when he extended, it is going to take around 70 million guaranteed and 10 million in add-ons. Caicedo fully open to a move even without European football. And that is the massive point for me, even without European football in terms of that. Kev, we'll go around the house as well and chat. As I said, I was speaking to Ricky, and I think it was Doug O'Connor this week, yesterday or day before, as well as chat. For me, at 70 million is a very good price for me, in all honesty. I fully anticipate him, by the way, chat. I think he will go to Chelsea. But if Chelsea can't get the deal over the line, I'd love nothing more than Liverpool to go out and get this lad. He ticks all the boxes, all the criteria.
Well, he plays. He allows. Okay, so the one thing that was worried me about McAllister coming in was thinking, right, so that's Caicedo dead in the water, because Trent pretty much plays in a position where Caicedo plays. So because lately he plays more like an inverted fullback rather than a central defensive midfielder. So he plays more to that right hand side, and I'm just like, so where does Trent fit in this role? I'd love to see him at Liverpool. I really would.
Yeah.
But then that you're probably going to see a poor Trent that you've seen last season if he comes. This is what I'm worried about. I would love to see Caicedo there if Trent can stay right back. Or if but if Caicedo comes in, if Caicedo doesn't come in, Trent plays there. And in my opinion, if you said to me, we're going to get Caicedo in this window and McAllister at the same time, I'm thinking, oh yeah, great window and the whole lot, but who are we buying for right back? Because that means you're telling me then that Trent is not really going to get much of a game. So, yeah, I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible. I know everybody wants to sign Caicedo, but the only outcome I can see footballing wise is that Trent gets moved back into right back, and that's not what everybody wants. We like him in the position that he's in now, which is the inverted. Yeah. Unless we can convert Caicedo to stay central.
Kev, that's what we've all been moaning about this, like the last couple of seasons. Trent's sound when he's actually got a good, capable defensive midfield or central midfielder that can fill in. And Trent will be able to play the right back position in which he has played the last couple of years, because he'd be bombing up and he'd have Caicedo, he'd have.
If he can cover him,
he'd have players that would be able to.
I think they work, but I just don't want to see him in the same position. If Trent is there, he needs to stay out of the middle a bit more and start hitting the wings, because if he goes back, because he loves the middle, man, and that's my only worry about Trent. If he goes there, Caicedo's going to give anybody cover. Man, we could have Paul Konchesky, who's a left back playing right back for Liverpool right now, and Caicedo will cover him. But my point is, it's not going to benefit Trent, because Trent won't want to go back out to that wing hand. If he's in the position that he's in now, he won't want to keep going out there. I want to see him out there because I want to see Salah moving in. But but look, bring him in, and maybe Klopp can tell him shut up, because I mean, it's either going to be Liverpool over Trent or Trent over his position. So and
I think they're both playing in the pivot anyway. They're playing that 3-2-2-3 formation anyway. He's a perfect complementing player, really.
I hope Caicedo will come in and shut me up and just say, I'm going to go right back as often as possible for Trent and allow him to be in the midfield, and I would take that all day long. So
Doug, thoughts, lad?
I mean, Caicedo is a very, very good player. Don't get me wrong. He'll improve any sort of midfield, but I think the problem he's going to have, that he was more of a sort of a playmaker in that sort of Brighton team. I don't think he'll have that sort of gather to go and sort of be on a sort of a playmaker sort of player now for Chelsea. I think he's going to have to be more sort of solid defensive as well. But £70 million, when you think about the money that Brighton already paid for him, that is absolutely a big, big profit that they made yet again.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
I still don't think he'll go anywhere near 70 million unless it's Chelsea. I think if another club comes in for him, he goes for cheaper and it gets done down the line.
Yeah, big up there, Panov, as well. You're gonna get a shower. I know, Panov. Massive thank you for tuning in, mate. Interesting that Doug and Kev aren't the biggest fans of him by the looks of it.
No, I'm a massive fan. Like, look, I take Caicedo all day long. I'm just worried about Trent.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
Caicedo basically dominated a Manchester United midfield of Fred, McTominay, and Eriksen at Old Trafford, and that was very, very good. So he's a brilliant player, Caicedo, whatever way you want to say it. But yeah,
he's going in the bin.
He's
going in the bin.
Yeah,
But,
take him all day long.
Yeah, big up there, big up lads as well. Nigel, have you seen any? Obviously, as I said, top of the show, don't be dwelling too much into the forehand rumours that have been circulating for the best part of the last 2-3 weeks, really. The same news has been getting rehashed and copy and paste about 20 times every single day from all the journalists. So, Nigel, thoughts on Caicedo? What would you other players that potentially like to see Liverpool come in and do a job? But at the end of the day, chat as well, we have got FSG as owners, so very much penny pinching, as we know.
Yeah, trying not to get too kind of excited on transfers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and just hoping we get a couple of people in. It's frustrating that we can't. If Chelsea sign him, but the thing is, if Chelsea sign him, is he going to be another one of these guys? Like, he's a good player. There is no doubt he's a very, very good player. But so is Kai Havertz. Like, so is
Enzo.
Kovacic is one of their best players. Yeah, exactly. Kovacic, Damien Duff, the first season, 2 seasons, he played with Chelsea under Mourinho. He was exceptional. Next thing, he suddenly disappeared and got sold to Blackburn. You know what I mean? All these players that they're after signing, are they just going to keep, buy, buy the flavour of the week this week, and then suddenly they disappear? He's a very, very good player, and I'm sure he'd fit in well in our midfield with McAllister, because he knows him. But is it another 70 million up the Swan?
In an ideal scenario, as me and Kevin said all season, we'd love to go out and get spend 40 million on McAllister, 70 million on Caicedo, but as he said there, boys, is Nigel, probably Doug and Kev probably reeling me back in. They have been for the last couple of weeks. Don't get too excited on these transfer rumours.
I want to get excited as well as you, Jack. I'd love it. I mean, I did sit there the other night and went through all the I forget, it was on your channel or somebody else said it. Both of us were on, and I went through all the funds of what came into the club and what the balance of what thing and how much I think should be available, which is around 222 to 230 million outside it, at the tax year, and only your profit of that is over all the sponsorship and all that is only about 7 million minus the thing, so about 5.6 million. So and the rest of it's all investment and the revenue and the TV money and all of that, and it should all be put in there after tax, and there should be money there. But look, is FSG going to spend it? They want if they spend the money, they create a debt, and the debt has to be repaid. And then if they're trying to take value to the company, then they're trying to keep the share price up, which means that people won't invest at a high level of share price into the company, which means more money for prospects, and they'll buy at a lower level, and they don't want to devalue the company. They want to hit that £5 million mark nearly, and a £5 billion mark.
We'd love that. We'd love 5 million.
Yeah, they want to hit that peak and then just say, here, everybody who wants us, come in, and then they'll sell for about 4.5 billion. That kind of way, and they just want to hit that reach and make a loss of about 500 million in their mindset. But in reality, they'll have made 4.2 billion off of Liverpool. So that's what I'm saying. So look, I'm just looking at it from all the back point of view. I've never really sat there and kind of complained about FSG because we've had a bad season. I've never sat there and complained about FSG because they didn't bring in every Tom, Dick and Harry player, because I trusted in Klopp and I trusted in the players that we had. And now that they need help, I want to see FSG do their job and back us. Just shut up, sit in the back corner, sign the checks, and then say nothing else. Don't make yourselves known. Don't do anything. Just sign the checks and just get it on with.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, it is big. We'll final talking point will be Jude Bellingham. And brought up a couple of quotes that I wasn't, well, not really too harsh now, but I felt it was a bit of a dig at Liverpool, really, in terms of, I'll let you know what quotes they were. But big up there, Richard. Liverpool need 2 teams to challenge Man City next season. Arsenal and Chelsea and Spurs will be up there in the Premier League. It will be happy to get top 4, win the FA Cup and League Cup and the Europa League. Yeah, we need to start winning trophies, Richard. The one positive about the season before was we did win the League Cup and won the FA Cup. I still foresee that as a successful season. Got to the Champions League final, got to the end of the season. We got to 180 minutes. We were away from winning the whole of football anyway, and we would have been still celebrating now. So yeah, we did win all 4. And shout out Southampton for doing the business last season. Stopping that lot doing it. But it's inevitable. City will win. As you said there, Richard, they've got basically their second team could very much get top 4 by a bloody country mile, in all honesty. But we'll move on to the next story now as well. Big up there, Kev. We'll quickly round off in the next 10 minutes. We'll quickly rattle through these. Oh, read that one as well. But it was just in relation to this one, lads. I don't know if you've seen it. We move on from Bellingham, but it was interesting. We'll start with a couple of quotes as well. From Jude Bellingham in his Madrid press conference this afternoon. I was sold when Real Madrid came to my house to meet us. It was huge because they were great with my family. They didn't try to manipulate them. And that for me is, we'll go back to that comment, but keep that in mind, chat. It was great that they met my family, Real Madrid, but they did not try to manipulate them. I don't know if he's saying something about another club or someone or whatnot, or throwing shade at negotiations of another club, but we'll find out. It was a great moment, goosebumps. You dream of that moment as a kid. Then Bellingham goes on to say, of course, all my friends of the England national team wanted me to be back to the Premier League. It was the easy option for me in my comfort zone, but you just can't turn down the big, great Real Madrid. And then the final quote as well, obviously he's made loads, but really, I was at the final when Madrid beat Liverpool last season. That was a huge factor. Ugh, my ass, Jude. My absolute ass. Kev, we'll get your final conclusion on that, mate. What do you take away from those comments? Sour grapes, or do you think he's being a bit salty, or what do you think? Do you think I looked at that press conference and I said to my dad, he's played as well and truly there, like an absolute fiddle, really. Kev, he's deep in thought there.
Yeah, I am. I just. I see.
Fair play to Jude. He's on 360 grand a week or something crazy.
Jude, don't get me wrong. Jude Bellingham is a fantastic talent, and he's there away, and he seems like a really humble character when you see him in most of his other interviews going by. But it comes to a certain stage that your head can be filled like a balloon very quickly. When it comes, you can be moved from reality into fantasy really, really fast when people talk to you, no matter how nice. And I think what you've had there is, he said, oh, they didn't try to manipulate the family, or they didn't try to do anything like that. But the problem is that Real Madrid and Barcelona technicians, or the people behind the scenes, are master manipulators. Yeah. And they know how to do it without actually being forceful. And they can do it in such a way that it's almost like having a hypnotist in your house. So they can lead you one way, and you just aimlessly go along because everything is just nicely. They talk about minimalistic pressure. They talk about the prestige of the club. They talk about, don't let the price tag scare you, but then nicely say that, but there's a lot to live up for. And they do it in such a way that it makes you feel like that there's no pressure and you're coming to a club like Real Madrid. And then you go to a club like Real Madrid and the fans get on your back straight away. And then you don't settle. You don't sit there. Gareth Bale went from fresh face, a chin like Superman, to, just like
playing golf.
Playing golf and ghost and just wondering what planet he was on. It's just, this is what happens when you get these Galacticos clubs coming in for you, and it can happen. I mean, you know, they used to, there's been fantasy. You remember the movie Goal and all of these movies back in the day, and these kind of things fantasized as Real Madrid as being the fight. And this is the problem these days. It's always been fantasies in people's heads and football fans' heads that that Real Madrid and Barcelona are your final stops. When you get there, that's it. You've completed football. But it's not that way these days. The Premier League now is the biggest league in the world. And yes, they're two fantastic clubs, but that's not the way it is anymore. And now it's kind of reverted a small bit. And I think that he's been misguided. I think that, you know, maybe Klopp and Co have come in and said Liverpool is a prestigious club. You're going to come to the club. They've done it old school. You're going to have to play for the club. You're going to have to do this and that.
We're not going to beg them, are we?
Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. It's up to you to do it this way, but this is how we do it. This, and this. And then instead, Real Madrid have come in and they've made it more comfortable, saying, look, if there's more you need, we can do it afterwards. If there's more you think, we can do it afterwards. And they're salesmen. Compared to, you know, we're already the Klopp and all of that is Klopp has people that work for him that are guys that work for Mercedes and BMW and all of that. Whereas these guys that are there in Real Madrid, they're the guys that come to your door and try to sell you an Alfa Romeo, and then you end up buying a Ferrari. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. The wheeler dealers. So, and they know what they're doing, but they know how to make you feel comfortable, and they know how to coax you in. So Jude has done it that way, and all of a sudden, I don't think at one point that you didn't think that Liverpool was like the ultimate destination for him. And then all of a sudden he came in and Real Madrid just completely spotlight. Like they made him feel like he was in Real Madrid. And that's the difference. And when you do that, you're already treated that way. And maybe he went in with the mindset thinking, I'm not going to let myself get starstruck by this. But in a way he has been. And he's been done. And look, fair dues to him. He might have ended up with us eventually or whatnot. But because of the way the scenario has gone, I can only see him going to places like maybe Man City after Real Madrid or Bayern Munich first and then something like that. You know, this is what... These are the kind of scenarios I can see him going through, but he's a young kid and he's gonna learn from it. And I hope he does well at Real Madrid for Real Madrid, just not against Liverpool. We don't have to worry about that next season. At the moment, anyway.
It's all right though, Kevin chatting, lads. He's got dodgy knees anyway, and so it's that dodgy knee we've seen him sound for 10 years. So Nigel, 2 big transfers Liverpool missed out on back-to-back now in relation to Tchouaméni and obviously Jude Bellingham. It could be a funny world. 5 years' time down the line, McAllister wins his 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues, hopefully, and the direction, as Kev's alluded, hit the nail on the head, more or less, on everything, really, Nigel. But you think, what did you gauge from this whole circus? Because that's what it is. It has been, obviously, hence I've done countless videos on this, and I'm so made up that we don't have to speak about Jude Bellingham to Liverpool ever again post this evening. Player of immense mate, but what's your thoughts on it? Yeah. It's been mad.
Well, there's not that much waffle in a potato waffle factory from those comments. It's absolute disgrace. If you put those comments back up again, just for a second, I just take them apart there for a second. There's a couple of things in it, and it's absolute crap.
There we go.
Just want to make sure what's supposedly said. The second comment, my friends wanted me to go back to the Premier League. He's never played in the Premier League for a start.
Yeah, no, he's
played for Birmingham City. Yeah. That's one. Yeah.
That's comment said there that you never wanted Jude.
The other comment about Kev was right. He said they never basically they brainwashed him. They basically just went in and just finessed him, is what you could call it.
Yeah.
It's finessing, is what it is.
They oiled him up and brought the lube.
Well, yeah, as Gary said there.
I can't remember what the third comment was. It was a lot of crap anyway. So.
No, but right, chat. As I said, it's been a busy show, and I am absolutely boiling. I'd go for another 20 hour, but I can't, chat. It's been a great hour, and Connor is live now, so please do head over to the Cop Council. Doug, massive thank you for joining me, mate. Obviously, Nigel as well. Massive thank you as well. Kev, you are gigging this evening.
I am.
But gents, yeah, we'll see you very soon.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. See you very
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
And Doug, lads, massive thank you in chat. Big up, obviously, Redbeard. Big up, Connor. Big up, Rob as well. Big up, Gary. Big up as well, Philip. Every single one of you. Big up, Hans. Yes, leave it there. But a massive thank you to every single one of you for tuning in. And Reds, see you again tomorrow for another live stream. And as always, you'll never walk alone. See you later. Oh, that's the Mortal Kombat one.
Mortal Kombat!
There we go. See you later, everyone.